My name is Shelly and I live in Tyler, Texas, by way of Austin, Texas. And I first discovered teardrops at a air show fly-in in Brodhead, Wisconsin. And a guy showed up and he had this beautiful 5x10 teardrop, and I lost my mind. And he had all of these really great features on it, and he'd build it himself without plans, and I just fell in love. And I told my husband, I have to have one of these. And he said, well, Shelly, where are you going to put it? I said, I have no idea where I'm going to put it, but I have to have one. When I started looking at the prices on the teardrops, whether they were used or the manufactured ones, the cost was just outside of what I was willing to pay. And I thought, you know what, I can do this myself. And finally I reached out to Big Woody Campers. And Big Woody is where I bought the set of plans from. And I reached out to Jennifer Robinson, who's the owner of Big Woody, so it's a woman-owned business. And I said, Jennifer, I want to buy everything that I can buy from you, to include the wood kit and all of the hardware and everything, because I'm going to build this camper all by myself. And so I was the first customer that she ever shipped the wood sides to, and so they're CNC routed and the doors and the windows are cut, and it's perfect. But it certainly makes it a lot easier because it takes a lot of the guesswork out of the spacing for the doors and things like that. And so it went together as smooth as butter. And so at that point I was still serving in the Army, and my son was in high school band, and my life really wasn't all my own. And the minute that marching season was over, I started putting together Mary Beth. And so it took about 6 months to build her from start to finish. The model that I chose, because she is a Woody, you do all of the finishing work first. So you do all of the details with all the polyurethane and everything, and then finally you get to put it together. And so I went through that whole process and put her together. I did the electrical. She has running water. She has a sink. And she has a 12-volt pump. She has a dual electrical system. And I chose to upgrade my tires. And so one of the things that you learn as a home builder is that if you change one thing in the plans, that it has a ripple effect over the entire process. And so changing from the 12-inch tires that came with my tire evolved into, I needed a new axle, new springs, new so much. But because I am a short in stature person, I needed to do a 4-inch drop axle when I put a 14-inch tire on it. Otherwise the countertop was going to be too tall for me. And so I got to go through that whole process of learning what the ripple effects were of changing one thing in the plans. And so while we were in the process of building, several of us had joined that Teardrop camper group on Facebook. And Roger made a Facebook page, and he called it Southwest Teardrops. And so if you go back in the history of our page, you'll see me telling the boys, chop, chop. You know, get on it, because I'm ahead of you. You need to catch up with me. Because they all started before I did. And I was passing them. And I'm a girl. And I've just really used that to shame them a lot. So we started out with 5 people on our Facebook page, and by the time we got to March, we had 80 people in the Facebook group, and 14 campers showed up to camp with us at Tyler State Park in March of 15. And we had such a great time, and the majority of the people that were there, it was their maiden voyage. So it was their first time out with their campers, and you know, so we had a whole list of stories of what happened to people on their way there. One guy showed up and his hatch was just a skeleton. So it wasn't even completed. It wasn't skinned or anything. And I had not yet completed all of my cabinet doors. I was nowhere near finished. I had not installed my 12-volt, my interior fan was not installed, and we got there and it was 28 degrees and it was 2 a.m. And luckily I had 110 power, and I was able to plug in my little space heater and climb inside and just fall asleep. I was so exhausted. So I picked a date in March of 2016 for us to get together as a group for an annual event to get together. And so we had 47 campsites filled at Tyler State Park in March of 16. and we had reached over 650 people on the Facebook page at that point. People are looking for a sense of community, and so they're finding it in Teardrop camping or in vintage camping. And we changed the name of the group after our very first camp out because the Langley family showed up with their vintage trailer and we invited them in. And we wanted to be inclusive rather than exclusive. We just want everybody to get out and camp. And so we have a really good time with each other. We build fires, we tell stories, we talk crap. We have a really good time. We put out the date for the camp out for this weekend in January of this year. And I said, I'm camping. Hope, please join me. And we have booked 50 campsites for this weekend. And so I anticipate when we get together for potluck tomorrow night that there will be probably 150 people here.
This is all so amazing, and as someone who found your group on Facebook, I can't thank you enough. This has just been a great way for us to connect with so many people. And every time we talk to another person in the campground, we couldn't have done it without Shelly. So for the Teardrop Trail, Jim and I want to thank you, and we look forward to the next episode in your great Teardrop adventure.
Thank you.